All right, here we go. This is the next project that I'm going to be working on. After the last one was latex, I finished with that. So let's move on to the next project in terms of skill development, and this will be public speaking. Now, this morning I watched half a talk on public speaking. I watched a couple of presentations, a couple of talks, speeches from the World Championships, Toastmasters World Championships, and they were amazing. I mean, the guy who won was really amazing. I mean, you find the story and then you tell the story. And the thing is, it's not, it's about the words you shoot, but it's the way you say them. It's about the tone of your voice, about your body language, your presentation skills. They really affect the message. So if you're scared, if you're introvert, your message will not come across. So now let's try and get started with this presentation. Now, this is my first talk here at Toastmasters, and I would like to, as a first topic, this topic is very near and dear to me. It's the topic of happiness. Now, I'm going to present to you my take on happiness, the way I live my life. Now, there's a lot of books written on happiness, but the thing is, the way I'm going to present it to you, I've never seen a book that presents an analysis of happiness in this way. For me, it's very practical, and I live it every day. So, so I'm gonna, as you're listening to my talk, ask yourself these questions. How does this relate to the the triangle, the pyramid of happiness, the Maslow's pyramid of needs? How does this relate to that? Because those are questions I ask myself, and when I talk to people about my take on happiness, they ask me. The subject comes about. The subject of Maslow's happiness comes about because there's a relation between the two, but it's not exactly presented in the same way. And the other thing is this obvious? Like, does everybody know this? Because this way of analyzing life, of living happiness, I've never seen it it didn't come naturally to me. I mean, do parents teach this to their children? Do grandparents teach this to their children? That's another question I ask myself. Now, so I see happiness in four parts. And then at the end of the talk, you can just tell me, okay, this is obvious. There's no need for you, for example, to make a YouTube video and talk about this because people know about this. This is no big secret. People live their lives this way. And perhaps actually people live their lives this way implicitly, but not explicitly. So you you want to maximize your happiness. If you want to maximize your happiness, like for example, it's like a project. Let's say something I'm familiar with, an engineering project. You have different parameters, you analyze them all, and then you allocate resources in order to maximize the chances of success. The same thing with happiness. If you're aware of all of the components that go into happiness, you allocate resources, time, and energy adequately so that you end up with the best possible result. Some people, for example, would say, I don't want to be subject to a certain frame. I don't want to be limited by the frame of of the analysis of happiness, because I have to do this, that. It brings happiness down to sort of a technical subject, where you do this, you do this, you do that. That's true, and people don't wanna have the freedom of doing whatever they want. But what I'm saying is, it's not gonna maximize your happiness. Anything in the world can be analyzed and can be maximized. And anybody in engineering knows you have a function, you just take the first derivative, you set it to zero, you get the maximum, you get the point at which you get the maximum result. Life, you can do the same thing with life and happiness. Now the question is, but you don't have to explain all this to people about the scientific approach to happiness. You can use practical aspects. So now, if I simply talk to you about the way I see happiness is divided into four parts. I mention these four parts. I tell you what you can do to satisfy the needs of each aspect of each part of happiness, And once you've achieved those, once you've satisfied those needs, then you're happy at that moment. So that can come across, that message can come across, and you can understand it, and you can absorb it, you can internalize it, and it can become part of you. You don't need all the technical mumbo jumbo and the jargon in order to understand this view. So I present a view. You look at your own life, you relate to your experience, and you say, okay, this fits my personality. I can see myself doing this. It speaks to me. Okay? And if I live life this way, I will be happy. Or you're just curious and you want to try it. So the four aspects of happiness in terms of their in order of importance are first you have so work. No, sorry. I shouldn't start with work. Relationships, love. So the four words that I use are love, health, work, and money. If you have all those things, you will be happy. Now, the caveat or the trick is, once you have it, you don't have it forever. Every single moment you have to work for your future in terms of satisfying those needs. You have to satisfy those needs in the present and in the future. And you have to take steps today to make sure that in the future those needs will be satisfied. So it's not stationary. Life is not stationary. Life is not still. Life is a dynamic thing that moves from point to point, from time point to time point, from era to era, etc. It's always moving. And the thing about a human being, you're either growing or decaying. So you're never standing still. For example, a language. If you practice a language, you improve in that language every day. If you stop practicing, you start decaying, your skills start decaying. Okay. And that can even, some people think, okay, I've learned this language, it will be there forever. That's not true. There's many examples of people who have a first language, a mother tongue, they've spoken it for 20 years. They moved to another country. Let's say Slovak, it's an easy example. Because you're not going to find many people who speak Slovak, let's say in England or in Spain, for example. So you move to another country, you stop using your language for, let's say, 10, 15 years. You only speak you only write emails, speak to your parents, but that's not very often. There's not much conversation. So you don't see signs ever, you don't see forms in that language. So you move to Spain, you speak Spanish all the time. So your Spanish grows, your Spanish neurons grow, but your Slovak neurons, they start to die down to the point where you write emails to your cousins, and this is a true story. You write emails to your cousins, and it's basically Spanish written in Slovak words, or for another instance would be English spoken with Slovak words. So every language has its own set of rules, and if you stop practicing, you will forget them. So life is like this. Life, you're always growing your relationships with your family, with your friends, or they decay. In terms of your work, you either grow in your skills, or they start decaying if you stop using them. So everybody is this way. People talk about people being unique and being different. Yes. I see two layers to human beings. The first layer is it's across the board, it's universal. I see all human beings as needing love, health, work, and happiness in order to be happy. Now there's this, on top of that level, there's a second level of, let's say, the way you can analyze a human being, and that's where the differences come in. So people live, even though they have the need for love, for help, for work, and for money, they live it differently. So for example, in terms of friends, some people want to have long distance. When they make a friend, they want to have, if the friend moves away, they want to keep that relationship alive, and they're willing to have long distance friendships. They're willing to call and to email. Some people are not like that. Some people will only have friends where they live. Okay. Um, and that's one way of living your friendships. Some people like deep relationship where you talk to people about all of your problems. Some people don't want to talk about their problems. It's just about having fun and spending time with people. So, but the connection, being with somebody who cares about you, that's something that we all have. So that's what we all share. So that's the first layer. The second layer is the way you live your friendships and your relationships and your family relationships and your long distance relationships and your friendships. Some people, for example, in terms of long distance relationships, some people are willing to do it, some people are not willing to do it. I think it doesn't make any sense. So that's where the differences come in. But the need for connection will always be there, where it's for another human being. Um, well, a connection with another human being, for example, um, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Let's pause the video.